rise and rise again, until lambs become lions.
Franz Kafka is one of my favorite writers. The Metamorphosis is one of his most famous books, or probably his most famous short story. His most famous novel is The Trial, a snapshot of the insane absurdity inherent to bureaucracy. But to find this in a box buried with other books, where it was just like a bunch of the other books were absolutely falling apart, is just insane. My copy of War and Peace I found in Haley's family's business's storage unit. And we cleared the shit out one day, and there were boxes and boxes and boxes of old books. And I saved every single one that was worth saving. But this was the one that was most worth saving, because this is now an 80-year-old book with the dust jacket. Ripped though it might be, it's still gorgeous. Now, because this was printed in 1942, this is the real banger here. It compares Napoleon's advance into and retreat from Russia with the line of the Nazi invasion. The Brothers Karamazov. For anybody who knows, that is Dostoevsky, who also wrote Crime and Punishment, which is also a fantastic novel. But with these big, nearly 1,000-page volumes from 19th century Russia, it feels like trying to invade the country during one of their winters. You can be bogged down so easily in some of the minor details. Most of the writers that I read are not writers because it's like this soft, easy, cushy thing to do, but for the exact opposite reason. Because literature pries into the nooks and crannies of your soul. That's what they do it for. The insanity of Bukowski and Hunter Thompson and Kurt Vonnegut, for example. These men wrote not because it was the easy thing to do, but because it was the most interesting thing to do. And that's often lost in translation for people who don't know their works. This Mark Twain writes letters to God as if from Satan, published after his death. The majority of it focuses on pointing out the absurdity of religion as Mark Twain saw it. So Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas is the tale of Hunter Thompson and his then lawyer, who go to Las Vegas, and history says that they have something like a suitcase full of narcotics with them. Their purpose for going to Las Vegas is to cover a race for a magazine that they inevitably spend almost no time covering. Their actual purpose is to discover the heart of the American dream. I think a lot of us probably agree that they found it. Probably one of my favorite pieces, mostly because Hunter Thompson is, like myself, somewhat insane. But this particular copy, Haley bought me from the TC Commons, which is the subterranean part of the former mental hospital in Traverse City. This is One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest by Ken Kesey. And this particular copy of this book I actually got from a friend of mine in college who lived down the hall. And more than anything else, this book taught me to embrace the bull goose loony nature of my own character. Patriarchs and Prophets, I haven't read it yet. I'm very tender with it because my brother brought this back from his trip to Pakistan, where he bartered with a Pakistani merchant to lower the cost of the book. And he's not really like a book connoisseur or anything close to the sort. He's been trying to read Old Man and the Sea for about 2 years. So Jake, go ahead and finish now the last 50 pages. One of the earlier adventures of Don Quixote, when he goes on his travels with Sancho Panza, is the Battle of the Windmills. This is the most famous part of the whole book. In it, Don Quixote famously thinks that the windmills are giants who are invading the countryside, and that it falls on him to rescue his people from their wrath. Inevitably, he charges them on his fearless horse, Rocinante, and gets his ass kicked by the windmill because he thinks that it is an invading marauder. Much like the windmills in Don Quixote, a lot of these books, being that they are gigantic, will throw you, but secretly they are harmless, they're innocuous, and even beneficial to you. So this is a business card from the famous doghouse. It's on Telegraph, or on Northwestern Highway near Telegraph. But on the back, it's got this clever little poem. I hate men because they take me with them into dance halls and bedrooms. They press me to them and feel me all over with their hands. They get me a fire and get all they want out of me, then throw me aside. Why do they take advantage of my clean white body, for I am only a little cigarette? I happen to share Mark Twain's conviction that James Fenimore Cooper, most notably known for writing The Last of the Mohicans, was an absolute hack. This is absolutely the best example of bad prose that I could ever imagine writing, and more than anything, what Fenimore Cooper teaches us is how not to write.
This is all going in the video.
Just the audio. Do you just want the audio?
The whole thing.
Is the guillotine dropping on the neck of James Fenimore Cooper and his prose and his style or lack thereof. I can't imagine my life without these books. That sounded fucking awful. All right.